How do people feel about AI and the consulting side of things?
There's something that's new that's clearly here to stay. People just get worried. Is it going to replace me? People felt similarly when the internet got created, right? Like, I don't need this. I don't need the internet. AI is only as good as the inputs that you feed into it. So if you don't know what inputs you need to put into the models, how could it possibly provide the most robust answers, solutions, strategies? And that's just a finite output. What makes us unique in the marketplace is really trying to have a full view of what somebody has going on in their financial world, and then marrying that with all of the EQ things that are going on for them. We're dealing with real people and real families and real humans and real experiences, and those things constantly change. I'm not quite sure how people feel about their information being uploaded to AI just quite yet. We really want to try to evolve as time goes on, and we want to practice that way, run our lives that way. It's kind of a fitting conversation today because that's kind of how we view, AI and its place in our lives, in our practice today.
Thanks for tuning in to Privian AI Spotlight. I started this show because AI is changing everything, and most people have no idea how fast. So each week, I'm sitting down with real operators, founders, educators, and people inside of the system AI is already touching. No hype, just real conversation about what's actually happening behind the scenes. So if you want to stay ahead of what's coming, tap subscribe. Now let's get into today's conversation. Welcome back, everyone, to Privian AI Spotlight. And Happy New Year to everyone. Make sure that all those goals you established, you definitely accomplished it this year. I'm excited today to have Ivan Watanabe, who's a managing partner at Opus Private Client. So, Ivan, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Man, yeah, it's good to see you, man. Happy New Year.
Likewise. So, as you guys know, we interview different industry experts. Today, we're someone who's an expert within the financial sector. So, Ivan, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you guys do at Opus.
So managing partner of Opus Private Client, we are a full service holistic financial planning firm, helping people with wealth management strategies, estate planning strategies, college funding, retirement planning, and then we have a whole sub practice on the health insurance space. So we do employee benefits for companies, a few thousand employees and under, on the retirement plan side, on the health benefits, that sort of thing. So that is what it is that we do.
Awesome. I know your mantra is always forward, right?
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about that mantra and about living a forward lifestyle and how you help people do that?
It's a common theme amongst a lot of our partners that they've had some sort of life event, some sort of something that's kind of happened in their life, as most people have. And the idea is to try to put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, continue to move forward, continue to evolve, continue to progress forward, and to constantly be learning and providing new strategies and ideas and options for our clients to help improve their lives, right? So we really just want to try to continue to progress and never be static, never be something that, kind of rung true in the past is something that we're going to continue to live by. We really want to try to evolve as time goes on, and we run our practice that way, run our lives that way. And it's kind of a fitting conversation today because that's kind of how we view, AI and its place in our lives, in our practice today.
So, like you said, always forward. You're talking about AI, and that's very forward thinking. How do people feel about AI? Talk about your coworkers or people within the financial industry. How do they feel about AI and the consulting side of things?
Yeah, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I think whenever there's something new, our industry is certainly not immune to it. People get concerned, man. When there's something that's new, that's clearly here to stay, people just get worried. Is it going to replace me?
Mhm.
Is it going to replace our industry? Are we going to be obsolete? Are they, people going to be getting their financial advice from ChatGPT? I mean, we're seeing it, in terms of it being part of the conversation nowadays. But I think the immediate reaction is, are we going to get replaced? And then the conversation, as you start to get more comfortable with it, is how can we use it to actually improve the conversations that we are having with our clients in our lives, because it's here to stay. It's not going
For sure.
anywhere. So we just gotta kind of get on board. People felt similarly when the internet got created, right? Like, I don't need this. I don't need the internet. What is this thing over here? And I don't need a website. People are coming into my restaurant, or similar type of feel happened with robo advisors when the robo platforms were created. Whole bunch of clients went towards that robo advisor route, which is fine, but it doesn't frankly fit our demographic of clients. So we're not seeing our clients leaving us to go onto a robo platform. But like when they were first coming out, our industry was worried. Are we going to get replaced? Is there a cheaper version? Is there a better version? Is there a faster version? And so what we found is like there was some migration towards it because everything has its place. Robo
Mhm.
advisors are like perfect for certain people. They work really well for certain client bases. That's just not ours. So, I think for us, again, our industry is so broad and the client base that we serve, that different advisors serve is so broad. But in our world, we're early adopters, I would say, of AI and kind of, how do we help it improve versus being scared and running away from it.
So how do you use it on your day to day? Like you said, one of the biggest fears, and I hear this a lot, not only with financial, but even in education, the fear of being replaced. But you mentioned it's not going away. So we have to kind of learn to work with it. And I
Yeah.
think those who are going to be successful are those who learn how to leverage it. So what have you been doing on your day to day with your clients, leveraging AI to further enhance your services?
Yeah, for me so far, it's been more of a conversation of trying to figure out what are my clients thinking about that maybe they're not necessarily sharing with me on a day-to-day basis. So having a conversation with ChatGPT or Pilot and saying, hey, what is this demographic of person concerned about these days? What are they thinking about their retirement portfolios? What do they think about taxes? What do they think about current legislative changes? What are they thinking about college planning? Like, how has that evolved? And really kind of engaging the AI to give me what certain demographics are actually thinking about that maybe my clients are not necessarily telling me on an ongoing basis, right? Or verifying and validating what I think they are thinking. So, this person's sharing with me this, and this person's sharing with me that they're concerned about college funding or maybe college not being around. Is this like a common theme, or am I just, is just kind of a one-off scenario that I'm seeing? So it is helpful from a content thought leadership point of view so far is really how I see myself kind of engaging with it thus far. And, making things a little bit more efficient, boiling down emails and, some note taking. But for the most part, it is almost like a gut check on the way specific demographics are viewing the world right now and just either confirming what I think or not, and telling me that you're totally way off base and here's actually what we're seeing. So that's how I see it. That's how we're currently engaging with it thus far.
Got it. Going back to robo advisors, you mentioned that there's specific clients that are more in tune to that, but the clients that you serve, um, like more the relationship, right? So
Mhm.
you said people can just go to ChatGPT, and have that conversation, but why work with a financial advisor at Opus? What
Yeah.
makes you guys different?
Great question. I mean, I think we're certainly not for everybody. I think our ideal clients, and I think the clients that we work with the best are ones that sort of view us in partnership with what they have going on. Technology and different softwares and planning, people can leverage those things, but like as AI is only as good as the inputs that you feed into it. So if you don't know what inputs you need to put into the models, how could it possibly provide the most robust answers, solutions, strategies? And that's just a finite output. But life evolves on an ongoing, very fast pace basis. And so what we find for us is the more information that we get from our clients, we're able to partner with them and really have a true understanding of what's between their ears, how are they feeling, what's going on from an economic standpoint, and then the evolution of all the things that happen in their world. I want to buy a house, but I just lost my job. I I want to fund my child's college, but I'm planning on getting divorced. I mean, it's like all of these different nuances where I think make us different from a value creation standpoint that I don't think we can be replaced in that way. So for us, what makes us unique in the marketplace is really trying to have a full view of what somebody has going on in their financial world, and then marrying that with all of the EQ things that are going on for them, right? So money is not math, and math is not money. Like, there's no 100% true right answer every single time for every single output. We're dealing with real people and real families and real humans and real experiences, and those things constantly change. So, yeah, that's really why we view ourselves kind of in partnership with our clients, and that's who we work with the best. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I wouldn't want to tell my financial, what I'm going through financially or personal information to, an LLM like OpenAI,
Hmm.
Claude, right? I'd rather build that relationship with someone that I trust, someone that I already know is successful, and then learn. So I'd rather share my information with someone that I know. You're dealing, this is a regulated industry, right? You're
Yep.
private information and all this information, right? So I think it's important, the trust factor and the relationship side and the empathy. You're dealing with huge investments, right? That's leading to the family growth, generational wealth, etc. So
Yeah.
I think that's key.
Yeah, and again, it's the human element of what it is that we do is what makes it so powerful, and frankly, what makes it so interesting and what makes it like worthwhile for us, right? It's the financial benefits are wonderful, but it's really the relationships that we get to create, sustain, see people send their kids to college, see people retire securely, see people navigate some of the challenges, job loss, or some of the great opportunities. Their business exploded and they were able to sell it for a huge amount. Like being able to be part of all of those different journeys is amazing, and to be able to help them accomplish those things is wonderful. And I think for us, we just try to understand that technology continues to evolve. And so how do we incorporate those things to just be better for our clients, right?
Mhm.
Not anything, not any different than a new technology or a software that comes out or a new financial product that comes out or a new tax law that gets passed down. We just have to use all of these tools and be open to being able to do that so that we can be the best thing for our clients, at all times. And that's what we strive to do. So I think we really try to take the human element and marry that with the financial aspect. And I think that's what makes us, it's almost like kind of like, of course, that's what you would do. But frankly, I don't really see that a ton in my industry.
Mhm.
Um, so, oftentimes I'm kind of like a little surprised that the rest of the world is not providing a similar service. But, again, I think that's what gives us a place in the market.
Awesome. Pivoting to the investment side of things, you see huge companies like Nvidia and other major companies in AI. What are your thoughts on where AI is going within the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be a couple of major players, right, in the space, and then I think you're gonna find companies, smaller companies that start to figure out a way to bolt on their services to AI. Right? So you're not going to have a smaller company basically replace OpenAI. I don't think that they're going to be able to create a better version of it, but it's more along the lines of like, how do I use the technology that exists and have these additional products that help me use OpenAI in a better way, in a faster way, or in a more unique way, or to help me solve this other problem over here by leveraging the technology that already exists. Because again, you're not going faster than OpenAI is going. You're not going faster than NVIDIA is going. So that's where I think the industry is going, and you're going to start to see a lot of smaller companies win by the value that they're creating to sort of improve on the technology that exists.
Yeah, I totally agree because you have the LLMs, which are the big OpenAI, Claude, Gemini. So it doesn't make sense to replicate that, but if anything, is using them to create an application. So
Yeah,
I think now it's these application specific type of companies are just gonna ramp up. So I'm definitely with you there.
yeah, for
When
sure.
it comes So when it comes to the going back to the investment side, and let's say someone is interested in working with you all, and they're interested in investing in AI,
Mhm.
or how do you guide them through the process of what should they think about, or what kind of research should they be doing before even taking on an investment?
Yeah, I mean, I think we let's start with somebody that come to us brand new, right? Our process is to really sort of evaluate their current assets. So it's kind of like old money, new money. Like what do they currently have in their portfolios, whether it's 401ks, investment accounts, cash, whatever they have, right? We evaluate those. Should they change or should they stay exactly the same? Should they be invested in something different or be invested exactly where they should be? And then the second part of it is cash flow. So, how what are they earning? What are they saving? What are their expenses? And trying to figure out, what are they trying to accomplish? And then where should we be putting those dollars? And for us, we find there to be in an ideal model, depending on assets and cash flow and all those things, where, our thought process is some of it needs to go towards alternative investments. That could be cryptocurrency, could be private equity, could be private credit, could be AI specific. A portion of it, a larger portion will go to sort of like traditional investments in the markets. Some of that will be going towards real estate, and some of it will be going towards things like cash value of life insurance or bond portfolios or, high yield money market accounts. Like that's kind of how we round out a plan. So somebody comes to us and says, "Hey, I want to invest in AI." We just have to try to figure out what are the other pieces that they are putting in their plan, right? Do they have some stability in some other places? Because the technology, and depending if they're on individual securities, might be a little bit volatile, right? And so, can they withstand some of that volatility within the other things that they have going on in their plans? So, if somebody came to me and just said, "Hey, this is what I want to do," and not giving me any other context, they're probably not for us. But if they're coming to us and saying, "Hey, listen, we think we want to fit some of this in their portfolio and we feel like it's prudent to do it because they have all these other kind of things rounding it out and they can manage that volatility," and we're all for it. I think it has a place in the portfolios for sure. It's just a function of how do they want to do it. Individual security, mutual funds, ETFs, inside of the S&P 500, because the S&P 500 is very tech heavy. So just a function of how does somebody want to go about doing it.
So it sounds like they would have to share pretty much everything about their life, current investments, etc. So that sounds like a lot of information that you have to gather. Have
Mhm.
you thought about using AI in regards to gathering that information, and based on the information they're feeding AI, kind of responses or that the AI can give them? Have you thought about that part
I
or?
mean, from a scalability standpoint, maybe the challenge is that we haven't yet. And I like the idea of having that personal conversation and then being able to leverage some level of technology. So we have software that allows us to pull in and aggregate a lot of the information and a lot of the accounts that people have kind of all over the place. We haven't yet outsourced that to AI. And part of it is like a security standpoint. Like I'm not quite sure where the information gets stored. I'm not quite
Mhm.
sure how people feel about their information being uploaded to AI just quite yet. So we try to handle that more manually, and then really, like I said, leverage AI for more of the thought leadership aspect of things. Or, hey, can you just double check and confirm that the catch-up provision inside of the new tax code is now all has to all be Roth money. Like, just double checking the things that we kind of already know is really how we're leveraging it. I'm not quite comfortable yet by using it with any individual person's information, just quite yet.
Got it. And food for thought. And this is actually what we really specialize in is a lot of people are afraid of this, we feeding information into OpenAI, so if you can have it where it's private, right? Where pretty much is not that information is not being letting AI to learn from that knowledge. So there's a way for you to pretty much gather the information and still have control of that data and still have it respond as if you were to respond. So 100% about you first having that human interaction, having the conversation, but definitely within your workflows, I think this can be implemented, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later on.
I love it.
But Yeah, yeah. So also I know you have a podcast. For those who do not know, can you tell us how they can find you and tune into your podcast?
Yeah, so we have what's called the Opus Well Style podcast. We've been doing it for let's say like 4 or 5 years now. It's on every podcast channel that's out there. So, Apple Podcasts, we were on YouTube channel, and basically we just bring on guests that are that we find interesting. Again, it's not all just kind of financial strategy, tax strategy. We of course have a lot of those types of podcasts on there. Some of it is just around lifestyle and things that again we our whole goal is to try to provide value to our clients and our client base and our audience, both in our practice and through the podcast. And so we're trying to find guests that are providing value on things that our clients are thinking about, whether it's student loan changes or a Holy Cross grad just ran Moab 240. So we had her come on and talk about being a badass running Moab 240, but also running a bit, running an organization and raising two kids. We had somebody come on recently to talk, a psychotherapist to come on and talk about how to have difficult financial conversations with your older family members when it's time to start talking about estate planning or what do you want to have happen if you're no longer here, and some of that language. So just things that we find our clients are thinking about, and again, some of those ideas for podcasts came from my conversations with ChatGPT.
Mm.
Right? What are our clients thinking about that they're maybe not sharing with us? What is the demographic of a 45-year-old married couple with a house, kids in high school? What are they thinking about? What are their concerns these days? Again, just validating the things that I think about, but also, ChatGPT just has broader range. So that's what we're leveraging the technology for. And that's kind of, just to kind of tie it into the AI piece, but that's what our podcast is about.
Awesome. So definitely check them out. Before we go, 2026 just started. What are some financial tips that you can give the audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think get organized, get your ducks in a row. Everybody has accounts all over the place. Just get a good grasp of what you currently have. Take stock of your financial situation, your cash flow. Things are certainly costing more these days than they have in the past. So just make sure that your spending habits are in alignment with, what you're bringing in, what your income looks like. Do the old things that we were up to, do they still make sense? Our old expenses still make sense for us? So that I would start there. The other part is taking a look at the new amounts that are available to contribute to retirement plans. Those have been upped. A little bit of the changes inside of 529 plans for college savings. So learning the nuances there, and does it make sense now when it didn't before? The other thing I would really take a look at in conversations that we were having with folks often is that the market has been on a tear the last decade.
Hmm.
And so we are running into scenarios where they're coming to us, new clients coming to us with their investment portfolios with significant capital gains in their portfolios. So they've invested a low amount of money. The accounts are worth significantly more today than they were with the amount of money that they started. There's a significant capital gain inside of these portfolios. You need to start actually planning on how to address those taxes. What's your strategy to unwind these? Is it just to like keep punting until forever and then deal with it like someday? Or do you want to start to evaluate, and maybe you're allotting a tax budget to figure out, how much should we be unwinding throughout the year? So taking a look at the portfolio and figuring out like when do you want to address that tax burden, I think is huge right now. Yeah,
Awesome.
really, really big right now, especially if you're a big tech investor. Your portfolio's exploded over the last few years. What do you want to do? Do you want to keep investing in that same fund, or do in that same company, or should we be looking to diversify away? And then how to address the tax. So for sure, I think that is a common conversation we're having multiple times a day right now with new people coming through.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the insight. We truly do appreciate it.
Batman.
So there you guys have it. I think this was an awesome session, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much,
Thanks.
Ivan. Appreciate it. Bye. Thanks for watching today's episode. If you're interested in how AI can be used in your business or at work, I'd love to help you understand what that really looks like. I made a free tool called the AI Audit Assistant. It asks you a few simple questions and shows you exactly where your business is leaking time or money. and where automation can help. It's simple, it's fast, and completely free. Just click the link below and enter your name and email, and I'll send your audit agent straight to your inbox. And if you got value from this conversation, subscribing really helps this channel grow. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.